What's going on? This is Marcus. You're at the channel of the Debt Free Dad, where we're following my family's financial journey to debt freedom and learning about finance along the way. Before we even talk about anything, I want to say happy Veterans Day to all of my fellow veterans, to all of my active service, former active service, retired, those who paid the ultimate price, and even the family members of the service members. Prop to you all too, because you all are also a great support system for all the service members. So I definitely wanted to get that out the way. And y'all may not know this, but Veterans Day is like one of my favorite holidays because I literally have an itinerary set up of free shit that I can get throughout the day. I'm going to Subway to get my Subway sandwich. I'm going to go to Maggiano's to get my free meal. I'm going to go to the car wash down the block to get my free car wash. And so it's sweet because, the wifey and I are both veterans. So, hey, we have an opportunity to capitalize on a lot of free stuff. So I definitely love Veterans Day. It's one of my favorite holidays. And I feel like, hey, all the free stuff that y'all giving me on this particular day is a small price to pay for the sacrifice that I made, that other service members made. Now, let's jump into this video. In light of the fact that it's Veterans Day, I actually wanted to do a video, and I actually recorded this video early on when I first started the channel, and I was going to put that content out, but it was just terrible. I was talking like this, and it was really bad. So I said, nah, I'm going to record the video over. In this video, I'm going to talk about money lessons that I learned in the military. So it's going to be a quick, interesting story time. It's going to be some interesting, wild stories, because in the military, it's some strange motherfuckers, pardon my language. There's some strange people, strange individuals in the military, as in life in general. But I'm gonna talk about some of the key money lessons and things that I learned while I was in the military. So stay tuned and check it out. As always, before we dive in, I'm a licensed attorney, but I'm not your attorney. So if you're looking for legal advice or financial advice, get out of here, go somewhere else. Because on this channel, I'm just giving y'all some insight into my thoughts and opinions. It's educational, and I'm letting y'all know what's going on in the household of the debt-free dad. So now let's go ahead and talk about the military service in general. Now, I don't know if y'all remember, it was some documentary. I don't know if it was one of those Michael Moore documentaries or what have you, but it was a documentary related to 9/11 and the Iraq War. And some of these interviewers went to Capitol Hill and they asked these congressmen and these senators, like, hey, would you let your son or daughter sign up for the military? And they essentially were like, hell no, I wouldn't let my son or daughter get drafted or sign up for the military. And we also see the lengths that affluent people go through to avoid having to do military service, especially back in the day, during the draft and the whole nine. And so, interesting enough, the first thing we got to understand is most people, I'm not going to say all, but most people who are in the military, especially if they're enlisted personnel, it's not uncommon for people to be in the military and for their service in the military to be the best job that someone in their family has held. I'll tell you, I had a roommate who was from somewhere deep, deep, deep in Mississippi. And it was funny. I remember he and I having this conversation, and he was like, yeah, like me being in the military is like the best job that anybody in my family has ever had. And so you got to understand that a lot of times military service, it doesn't target the affluent community. They aren't going to Beverly Hills to recruit people. No, they put the recruiting center in the mall with 65 shoe stores and 27 barbershops because they have a certain group of individuals who they want to focus on. That's first thing is first. The second thing you got to understand is most people most people who join the military are probably 21 or younger. When I joined the military, I was 20. I had a real weird, unconventional roadmap to get to law school. So I did go to undergrad for 2 years before joining the military. But I mean, there's a lot of people. It was people who were 17 and their parents signed waivers for them to join in. They were 18. So the first thing you have to know is being that young, going into the military, if you don't come from an affluent family, a family who is passing on that tradition of investing in finances, most people who newly to the military don't know shit about money. It is what it is. You just like, man, I'm happy. I'm not in the neighborhood no more. I'm on my own. I'm getting a paycheck. And hey, that's great. You don't have any obligations, no rent, no insurance, none of that stuff to pay. I mean, so that's kind of the situation that most military members are in when they join. They're young. They may not have a lot of information and knowledge and financial education. A lot of times, they could potentially be the breadwinner for their family. And so, with that being said, the first thing is, if you're young and in the military, you're gonna do the same dumb shit that people who are young and out of the military do. It's inevitable. Like, I had a homeboy who had a Escalade, and it was a beautiful Escalade, but he couldn't even put gas in the damn thing because his payment was so high. It was so crazy. And car dealerships, they saw these new soldiers coming who are just now getting paychecks for the first time. I mean, you would see people like, damn, man, you got a Honda Accord and you pay $900 a month. What the hell? Interest rates through the roof. It was actually mandatory. They were like, hey, if you're a new soldier, you've been in less than 2 years, you could not go get a car unless you took your supervisor with you. Because they already know, as soon as they see that new person coming with that private rank on their little uniform, the car dealership was over there just salivating because they was gonna sell them all the bullshit at the highest interest rate possible. So the same mistakes again. People are young, not educated on money, as most people are in society. So there's a lot of opportunity to make bad decisions. There's a lot of opportunities to get be taken advantage of. That's the first thing that you have to understand. The second thing that you have to understand is, and this is especially for me, when I was in the military, I was stationed overseas. I was a couple years older than most of my peers. There was people there my age or older, but for the most part, I was a few years older than most people. I actually lived on my own for a while, so I wasn't new to just kind of being out there on your own. But people make bad decisions. You overseas, and I tell this story, and again, some names will be changed to protect the guilty or the innocent or the disgust. Excuse me, whatever. But in any event, like it's not uncommon. Like I know it was one soldier. This is crazy, but this is just kind of how people spend. When you overseas, Germany and all these places, they have the red light district. The red light district, y'all know what the red light district is. If y'all don't know what the red light district is, y'all look it up. And I can remember one of the supervisors was getting a call like, man, what? He was like, he asked me, pulled me over, was like, hey, what is the deal? He's like, Marcus, what's the deal? Why is specialist such and such having all these financial problems? Because if you have financial problems in the military, when you fill out that application and you put your employer information down, they're gonna call your commander because they want their damn money. And so Big Sarge was like, "What's the deal, Marcus, with such and such? I don't understand why we got all these bill collectors calling. He ain't got no kids. He not married. He should be straight." And so it was funny because they pulled this soldier aside. They talked to this soldier. This soldier would get paid every 2 weeks and spend his entire paycheck at the red light district. And I was like, God damn! Like, is no woman in the world that fine for you to go spend your whole paycheck on every time you get paid? That's insane. That's crazy. The other thing that didn't even make any sense during that time period was like, dude, we overseas. Just you could literally just go to a club. Like when you're overseas, the people in the United States are really kind of balled up and tight and conservative when it comes to sex. That's not the case when you go in other geographical regions. So I couldn't wrap my mind around, dude, why are you spending a whole paycheck when you can like pay $20 to go into a club and just like actually meet a person? Let's be real. Let's keep it 100. It's not that damn difficult, but that's just kind of what it is. And so again, there's a lot of opportunities for people who are young, who don't have a lot of experience, to make bad decisions. So I'll tell you, when I got into the military, I really wasn't the type to kind of blow my money on stupid shit like that. It just wasn't something I would do. I mean, because think about it, you're not paying no rent, you're not paying for food. The only thing you pay for is what you wanted. I didn't have any kids or anything at the time, so I was just stacking up paper. I was stacking up paper. But at the time, I tell you, I didn't know anything about investing. And I was just, I mean, I had a crap load of money, or what I thought was a crap load of money in my savings account. And I just enjoyed it, and I was enjoying everything for the weekend. So whatever I wanted to go, whatever I wanted to do, that's what I would do because I had no other obligations, either family wise or financial, to kind of hold me back. And so, what really the first person to open my eyes uh, regarding finances in the military was a E7. Again, I won't say his name, but he's a guy in South Carolina, good guy. I still chat with him every now and then. But I remember one day I was online, I'm looking at my bank account, and I was like, yeah, I was like, man, what you talk about? Man, I got this bread stacked up, man. And so he was like, man, you think you got something? Let me show you something. So that joker logged onto his bank account and showed me. And at this time, man, I never seen so many O's in my life. And I'm like, damn, this dude on the E7, he ain't making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. How's he doing it? And so, he was like, hey, he talked to me a little bit about saving. He talked to me a little bit about investing. And so one of the things that he recommended that we do, and it was actually smart because when you go get deployed, you go to a war zone, Iraq, Afghanistan, wherever you end up going, you get all this hazard pay, all these bonuses, and you also it's tax free money up to something like $109,000 is all tax free money. So your salary, your check is big as hell when you go get deployed. That's why a lot of people actually want to volunteer to get deployed because they get combat pay, hazard duty pay, and they don't have to pay taxes on a certain percentage of their income. So it's a good opportunity to make a lot of money. So he was like, this is the first thing that you got to do. He's like, you're already good at saving your money. He said, but you got to be really smart with your money. He said, we about to get deployed. When we get deployed to go to Iraq, what's going to happen, everybody going to come back. They're going to take all that money that they made out there in Iraq, and they're going to buy all new shit. People going to come back, buy new cars. They're going to come back, buy all of this new stuff. He said, but you don't want to get caught up in that. So this is what you do. He was like, before you leave, set up an allotment to have $400 a month go to, or it was 400 a month, 400 a paper, whatever it was. It probably was 400 a month because you don't make that much damn money. But have like $400 or $500 a month go to this set account. And then the remainder of your money that you get paid with your hazard pay or your extra pay, have that go to a separate account. He was like, and you set it up like that because when you get back, everybody gonna be spending all that money that they made in Iraq. When you get back, the only money that you're gonna be able to spend, is what you had allocated in that allotment while you was gone for that 12 months, 16 months, 18 months, or what have you. So he really put me on to just kind of saving and being smart with my money. I was in my early 20s, and my investment advice was I would do this thing. It was called CD laddering. And so essentially, what I would do is I would save up $1,000 and I would put it into a CD. And in this time, you still weren't getting much interest on the CD, but you were getting more. You were getting more than what you would get now. Now, for those of you who don't know, a CD is a certificate of a deposit because I don't think anybody uses it. Anybody got a CD out there? If so, probably not. I seriously doubt it. But a CD is a certificate of deposit where I agree to give the bank X amount of money and I don't have access to that money for 12 months or 24 months or 36 months. And in exchange for me giving the bank this money and not trying to access it for this certain period of time, they'll give me a fixed interest rate in return on that money. And so, what my bright idea was, it wasn't a bright idea, but it was the best that I could do for the knowledge that I had. What my idea was, I essentially said that every time I would save $1,000 up, I would open a CD up. So I would open one up in January, then I would open one up 3 months later, and I would open up one up 3 months later. And so I essentially set it so I had a $1,000 certificate of deposit that would mature every month, January through December. And so how it works is you can only take that money out once that money matures. So these CDs would be 12-month CDs. So if I started it in January, next January, if I needed it, I could take it out or I could let it ride and continue to gain that interest. So I got to a point where I had $1,000 CD that matured every month, 12 months a year, January through December. And that was kind of my investment strategy that was pretty terrible. But, like I said, I could only do what I knew. But the military taught me the exact what you see in a smaller group is the same for the group as whole. I think I jacked it out. What you see for a smaller group of people or individuals is typically the same data points that you would see for a group as a whole. So let's just put this into context. It's a stat out there, something like 60% of Americans do not have $500 in their bank account to cover a $500 emergency. If that's what the statistic is, that same number holds true for persons in the military. It may be a little bit worse in the military because I mean, really, you just kind of get in there and think about it. You overseas somewhere, you out on your own. Man, I was just buying stupid stuff. I was buying big ass TVs. I was buying 50 pair of the same shoe in 50 different colors. Uh, I was like, we going out to this club, to that club. We were literally driving like 1 hour, 2 hours away to go to these clubs in different parts of the world that no one has ever been there before. And it was a lot of stuff, but you know, it is indicative of what you get when you join the military. You young, you fun, you having fun, you blowing your money, and it is what it is. And it was interesting that reality ended up kicking me in the ass because I'll never forget. I already knew I was going to get out of the military. I was like, hey, I'm not staying in the military. Nothing against the military, but it just wasn't for me to do 20, 30 years in the military. I just wasn't going to do it. It didn't fit with what I wanted for myself as a whole, even though it was a great experience and I wouldn't take it back for the world. But I knew I was getting out. So maybe my last year, I was really just stacking up money. I wasn't spending nothing. I was eating at the cafeteria. We try and go. I was dating my wife at the time. Let's go out to eat. Now we're gonna eat at this DFAC, this cafeteria, the dining and facility. We're gonna eat here because it's free. But now we went out and did stuff. But that last 12 months, because I knew I was getting out, I had saw a lot of people who got out the military and 2 months later, 3 months later, they were back in the military, and I didn't want that to happen to me. Again, not that there's nothing wrong with the military, but I just wanted to make sure I had a plan. And if I were to join the military again after getting out, it would be because that's what I wanted to do, not because that was what I had to do. And so I stashed all this money up, and it's not even a lot of money, but I thought it was a lot of money. It's a lot of money when you single, don't have no kids, and don't have no obligations or what have you. So I had like 20 G's stacked up when I got out the military. So I never forget. The first night I came back and came home, I hooked up with one of my boys who joined the military with me. I ain't gonna lie, that first week of that $20,000, I probably spent the G because think about it, I'm overseas in Germany, so I had all these velour sweatsuits and everything, and I thought I was cool. Unbeknownst to me, the fashion overseas was like 2 years behind from the States, so nobody was wearing velour sweatsuits anymore. So I had to go shopping. So I spent like $1,000 that first week just on getting new clothes. Not even new clothes to go to work. It was crazy. So I got out. I had about $19,000. I already had a car that was paid for. They delivered my car. I got enrolled in school. I got a place in Baltimore, and I lied to you. Now, I got a place in Baltimore. What I did when you get out of the military, you can collect unemployment for a certain amount of time. I think 6 months or something to that effect. So I was collecting my unemployment. That was able to hold stuff over. But once that unemployment ran out, I actually got a job. But man, I wasn't prepared for what real life costs. I was used to being in the military and food being taken care of, utilities, housing being taken care of. If I don't feel good, I don't have to go to the doctor. I could just go to sick call and one of those people to patch me up. Nah, man, that $19,000 I had, I burned through it so quick just paying for the basic fundamental stuff like groceries, utilities, insurance. And so that shit, yeah, I wasn't prepared for how fast my so-called emergency fund was going to get depleted because was not used to all the expenses I would have to pay as living, as making that transition from being a soldier to being a civilian. But hey, it was great times. Did some dumb stuff with my money. Did some smart stuff with my money. I didn't spend any of my money at the red light though. That's hey, anybody can co-sign that who know me, who was stationed out there. That wasn't what I did. But yeah, so that's it. I just kind of wanted to talk about, some of the money lessons I learned from the military. The main thing is, you know, in the military, just like everywhere else, is all about keeping up with the Joneses, being the latest to have this or that, going back home off of leave. And when you go back home on leave, you want to make sure you look good, you driving the latest car. I mean, people did all that silly shit, and it was just kind of the norm of what we normally see, just trying to keep up with the Joneses. But that's all I really wanted to talk about. I was actually trying to find a picture of me in the service. Like when I was done with the service, I was like, all right, good riddance. I threw all my shit in the trash. I was ready to get the hell out of there. So I got very few pictures. If I could find a few pictures, I'm gonna put them up right now so y'all can see them. But I'm gonna look. My wife may have a few pictures. She got all the pictures because she's real photogenic and like taking pictures. But me, I was. By the time I met her, I already knew, man, I'm getting out of this place in another 16 months, man. I ain't got time to be taking pictures and shit. But that's it. Again, happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there, all the service members out there. Y'all take care, be blessed. I hope y'all enjoyed this rando middle of the week veteran special video. I'll talk with y'all on Friday. Peace. Hey, I was about to stop this video, but take a look at the videos on the screen to follow more of my family's financial journey and learn more about finance. And if you haven't, hit that circle all the way on the right of the screen so you can subscribe to the channel and get the latest content.